All right, you are listening to another episode of Transparency and Merit. I'm Joe. I'm here with Brian, and today we're going to discuss a YouTuber. Who do we got on deck?
Well, I'm going to talk about Hunter. I think you say his name Avallone or Avallone. I was saying Avallone, but I think it's Avallone. And he was mentioning about Project Veritas and how conservatives are not censored. And I just wanted to basically just give a short thing. I think that I don't want to say he was completely wrong, and it was somewhat thorough about like Project Veritas and how sometimes Project Veritas basically leaves things out. And he seems like a rather open-minded person. So I have actually more questions than I do answers. But big tech is censoring conservatives, and they're censoring the conservatives who are on, I would say, the racially conscious side. Anytime you talk about certain subjects, you will get censored. So the people who are, I guess, are kind of red-pilled on certain subjects, and I call it the civil rights industrial complex, they will censor you. And there are so-called civil rights groups that will absolutely censor you and tell you and just basically try to make your message as limited as possible. Now, you said you saw some of this video too as well, Joe.
Right, he talked about Project Veritas.
Yeah, but you also heard from Miss Hunter, and you also, you had because there have been a lot of YouTube channels. Some of your favorite YouTube channels have been censored as well.
Countless ones. I wouldn't consider them necessarily conservative. Well, maybe they might be considered conservative, but the content itself was just not part of the mainstream narrative. In fact, it went against the mainstream narrative, and in many cases, I mean, at this point, it's countless cases of shows, whether it's just separate episodes or the entire slew of their accounts got taken down, and incredibly frustrating for him to to kind of sidestep the real problem or to minimize the problem at hand was kind of a shock. I was a little surprised.
A little bit as well. And like I said, I mean, for example, I mean, you and I have both interviewed Colin Flaherty, and that man has been censored, drastically on YouTube. And why? What is the reason? And like I said, there are certain subjects you cannot talk about on YouTube, and, or you shall get censored. For example, any talk about what's going on in South Africa with whites there, white farmers, or whites in general, you get censored. And I call it the civil rights industrial complex, and they have a big hand in this, and they don't want honest talk and honest dialogue. They just don't want it. And it's just, like I said, it's kind of sad that this kind of thing is happening. And a lot of conservatives seem to have white guilt. They seem to want to appease minorities. And look, you shouldn't be, hey, I'll grant it, you shouldn't be racist, but you shouldn't be racist or hateful against me too. And what about my well-being? What about my rights? What about an open and honest discussion on what is best for me just as well as what is best for you? And that relationships should be win-win. give and take, and it doesn't seem like that. When only one side is allowed to speak and allowed to talk, that's not really good or basically healthy for a society. And that's what we're seeing now. And the internet and YouTube is a big example of that. I mean, you see a lot of these social justice warriors, some of these educated individuals, when they talk about white fragility, one of the things I've noticed is they turn off the comment section. You're talking how fragile white folks are, and then you're turning off the comment section. I mean, it's like
that
totally.
You see that more now. It used to be kind of a rare thing. There used to be this very popular conservative blogger back when blogging was at its apex in the mid 2000s, 2005, 2006, who wrote prolific. He was a university professor, but he wrote amazing posts, but he started getting slammed because of his content, and he started to make posts, and I'm not sure where that's coming from, but yeah, but what's going on?
Oh, that's someone trying to call me.
Okay, so yeah. Anyways, Glenn, I think it was Glenn Reynolds, and he was making some really prolific posts, and sure enough, he started to. This is on. Fuck this.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Should I just bring the guy on?
No, absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. I'm going to see how long this goes on.
I mean, I'm sorry for the profanity.
Are you that thick you can't turn your notification sounds off? I mean, come on.
I am that thick. I don't know how to work this crap, but
this guy, Glenn Reynolds, was a great writer, and when he started to make posts, and he would not allow comments to be made on his post. It was a big deal. I don't think a lot of people at that point were doing that, or at least not people who were super who were getting a lot of attention, who were getting a lot of traffic. So when he did that, it was a big deal to me, and so now when I see it, yeah, it's a little frustrating. It's a little frustrating.
And I put up the do not disturb sign on the thing.
Oh yeah, that'll help.
And this narcissist is still calling me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe the selfishness.
I want to be heard. I want to be heard. Look at me,
folks.
Look at me.
Yeah. I cannot believe the selfishness.
Yes.
And he told me to do it. Just put the do not disturb sign on there, and no one will call. But I have put the do not disturb sign on my phone.
All right, from now on, that's it. We're for these 15-minute podcasts, we're just gonna record offline. I mean, some people just can't handle. They just can't handle it. They just have to say what they gotta say.
And it's like, dude, I mean, what are you doing? And I'm gonna, I'm gonna wait till the show's over, and I don't care that the sound is going on. I've been ignoring it. You couldn't ignore it. I tried to put the do not disturb.
Oh no!
He continues to call, even though I put the do not disturb sign on there. So you know what you're doing. You are a grown man into your 50s.
This is a This is a low-thinking adult mind who. You
know what? I almost want to put him on and just tell him, you know what are you doing? And maybe even change the title of the show, because I almost want to ask him, what are you doing, thinking that you have the right? Are you that selfish that you're going to go on to a show and continue to call and make noise, interrupting the show? Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? Do you have any consideration for
By the
anybody
way,
else?
What's up,
you come
Stephanie?
into a
Hold on. What's up, Stephanie? We got Stephanie in the chat. She doesn't make any noise. She just sits there.
She doesn't make any noise.
Yeah, very, very considerate, very, very likable person.
Yeah, but this gentleman goes around and makes noise and thinks that he has the right to do. He's almost like one of those SJWs who feels that they have the need to interrupt a show or interrupt a presentation of a conservative they don't like. And like I said, a lot of these conservatives get violent and want to, hurt people. And you can't even get like if we want to have, because I've talked to people about like getting a theater and doing our show.
Someone needs their blanket and a bottle.
You need to grow up and realize not everything is about you. Not everything is about you. And you got to also realize we'll get you on when we want you on. You don't have to force yourself into a party. Which, but this is the thing. You meet all these kinds of people online.
Yes.
And the sad fact is that some people, they want their agenda so bad and they think they know what's right for everybody else that they won't allow anyone else to have their own show. And I almost want to do a show. I want to do a show after this about selfish people, and I want to have that dude on. I want to have him on about. So I want to do another show. I think we should have one in about 5 minutes and do another show.
That's great because there's only so much we could talk about Hunter Avallone.
Yeah, that's true. And the fact of the matter is, he didn't really hurt my train of thought. Basically, I feel that Hunter Avallone, to a degree, and I could be certainly wrong, but my question is, why was Colin Flaherty, why was his channel taken off? Okay? Why was, I would say James Alsop, but, what reason did they have for Colin Flaherty? Anyway, those who hear this on YouTube, like and subscribe and share and leave a comment on our YouTube channel below. Anyway, I think that's about it. I think that's all I have to say. Joe, do you have anything else to add?
That's enough. Enough. I've had enough of this show.
All right. Let's end this puppy. Let's end it.
Yeah, we're going to do another one.
Let's end this puppy and let's get...
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah.